everyone. My name is Shannon O'Brien, and I'm going to be arguing in my debate today that I do not think that nation states should give up their sovereignty to comply with international law. Just not blindly comply. And I'm not opposed to like giving a little bit, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Let me just get into it. So, obviously, I feel like sovereignty is the core of every nation. It's what every nation went to. That's where revolutions were started, and there's just sovereignty is you got to have something. It can't just be all over the place. And I will elaborate, I promise. But yeah, I just don't really feel like, kind of like with soldiers in the military, you don't just expect them to blindly follow orders, blind obedience. You don't expect that from them. You expect them to have a little bit of critical thinking to like, okay, this feels wrong, or to ask questions, or like the professor always says, have a healthy dose of skepticism. We say, like, we encourage that. So I just feel like sovereignty is like the backbone of a country. Without it, we kind of lose our uniqueness in a sense. Um, it allows us to secure our borders, manage our national defense. Take Venezuela under Maduro. Now that, I guess it's not really Maduro running things and it's the military, but I digress. Our outside pressure in attempted interventions, they didn't really, stabilize the country anymore because sovereignty wasn't, respected. And then you compare that to like South Korea, which maintains, strong security policies, and that's helped them protect their citizens and grow great economically. Um, so I slightly agree with Trump when he kind of told NATO, like Ukraine and Russia, they're not our problem, maybe they're your problem. And I know that you're gonna be like, well, we're part of the NATO, but it's like, I'm so sick of doing people's bidding for them. And yes, I say me because I am a taxpayer and I have been for the last 29 years of my life, as I'm sure most of you have. And so it's like, I don't see any of these other countries like getting their checkbook out and writing a check for us. It's always us doing the bidding for other countries. And I'm so sick of like, why are we the financial god? Like, why do we have to provide finances for every single country? And I get, you don't want like someone else to expand their influence, but like, I just don't really see that happening. And I'll get to that at the end when I talk about economics. So, let's get back to, we secure our borders. I get the arguments, but like you don't want, and I'm kind of going to get into a little bit of religion here, but when I say these things, I'm not trying to disrespect any religion. But like with Israel and Gaza, it's like love Israel, not anti-Semitic when I say this. But like, why do we have to do their bidding for them? Like, we send you $3+ billion a year. I just don't understand why we have to continue doing your bidding for you. Like, if this is really y'all's spiritual war, handle it. Or let God handle it. I don't know. But it's like, it grinds my gears. I'm not going to lie. And it should grind everyone else's gears because this is our money they're playing with. And it's like, we can't even fix the problem at home, which is here, which is the government shut down and people aren't even getting food stamps. It's just little things like that where it's like, why can't we fix our own affairs before we start trying to fix everyone else's affairs? We're only 250 years old. We're actually really not that old as an economy and a society compared to a lot of other countries. So, like Iraq and Afghanistan, they experienced instability when outside forces tried to enforce changes. Japan, after World War II, they retained control over its domestic policies and culture, but they still engaged internationally, so it allowed them to rebuild successfully. I just feel like when other countries manage their own affairs, reforms are a lot more effective and sustainable. Um, Cooperation doesn't like require giving up sovereignty, and that's where I just feel like treaties are Bible here, law. Um, kind of like with the Islam Muslim takeover. again, like I said with the Jewish people, not anti-Muslim, not anti. You guys can believe whatever you want to believe. I don't care. But it's like this distorted Islamic radical Islam view that some, not all, hold. They are trying to impose that will on everyone else, and they're not in the mood to understand your side of things. It's either you understand their side of things or you become a sex slave, or, it's not good. And so it's like, that's where I'm like, secure borders. If I want to come see your culture, I will. If you want to come see my culture, you can. But it's like, we don't always have to intermingle, because then we get to the point where it's like, international law, there's not a one size box fits all. When you have so many different religions and so many different politics, it's hard to fit everyone into that. And so it's like, everyone can be a part of their own communities, their like-minded communities, and if we want to intermingle, we can intermingle and like kumbaya. But it's like, don't impose stuff on me and I won't impose stuff on you. You know what I mean? Unless you really want the democratic way, then like, we're more than happy to help you with that. I just think the solution to me would be treaties. Like the Abraham Accords clearly showed that countries can work peacefully together without like one nation imposing its will on people. And then you compare that to like NATO's intervention in Libya, and yeah, they removed a regime. Great, go for it. But you left like complete and utter chaos behind in your path as soon as you left. So I just feel like international law works best when states voluntarily commit to treaties rather than like being forced to comply, especially when they don't think the same. And I think it's great that we don't think the same, because my dad always said, if we all think the same, nobody's thinking. So it's great that we all don't think the same, because we're thinking. Anyways, so here's my last point. I think the most effective way to encourage cooperation and stability internationally and regionally is through economics. Economics is the solution. Nobody's mad when money's going in their pockets and when their economies are booming. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, you know what I mean? So I just feel like trade and investment can create more incentives for nations to like want to collaborate. And I feel like, I don't know what president did that, but I feel like there was a president who like, we're talking to like Pakistan, and they're like, dude, y'all want to keep imposing these like non-woman laws? Like, we're just not going to buy your oil anymore. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we can use that to encourage cooperation, but also we don't have to go to war. We're just going to stop buying your oil. Boom, conflict prevention solution. No one likes money being taken out of their pockets. I just don't understand why this is that hard for a lot of like Congress people, etc., up there to like understand. So again, trade, investments, economy, merging, like, helping each other's economies flourish. Like post-war, U.S. support for Japan and Germany and South Korea, that shows that like economic engagement stabilizes countries without violating sovereignty. Military interventions, Iraq, Libya, whatever, they've failed because they're forcing compliance and like ignoring the realities on the ground. So I just feel like when countries can prosper economically together, humanitarian and security goals are more likely to succeed organically. But yeah, in conclusion, I know I've gone so over. So sorry. But yeah, in conclusion, I just think sovereignty is essential for security and cultural preservation, and economic growth. I think that with our own government, I would rather everything be left up to the states, because it's a lot easier to go to your state capital and express your grievances than it is to go to Washington, D.C. and hope and pray all them federal government workers listen to you, and there's thousands. So I'm just saying, it's better when things are closer to home. And so, we can all cooperate, we can have treaties, we can have economic partnerships, and we don't have to surrender control in the process. I just feel like blindly enforcing international law, it sounds noble, but history's kind of shown that it's often failed. So protect sovereignty, secure borders, preserve culture, and use economic engagement to foster cooperation and stability. But yeah, I'm so sorry. I've gone over. I've done making my points. We're at 10 minutes. Have a great day. I'm so sorry. Bye.